What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, aka Mr. Tell Like It Is. We finally have a real reason why Nick Walker didn't make it to this year's Miss Olympia. Quinton Beast Mode is here to tell us why from his experience with Matt Jansen. Anyway guys, in this video, I'm going to go over his video, respond to some of the things he said. I too have some experience being coached by Matt Jansen, but also being a coach and understanding how things could get like this and signs that you should look out for as an athlete slash client when looking for a coach. Let's get into it.
Before I get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and that's a huge congratulations to the new Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda.
If you guys don't know who Quinton is from Canada. I've known him, I've watched him compete for a long time. He got his pro card as a natural bodybuilder, and he was 100% natural on 100% because when he went to the dark side, the guy just blew right up. Absolute freak of nature. I would say the same type of body like Samson Dauda. The only difference between Quinton and Samson is just past coaching, to be honest.
I wanted to catch Andrew and Samson. That's who I was aiming for. Man, I put so much into that. Like, I put so much into the off season. I was fucking damn near dying in my sleep, you know, like I had to get a CPAP because I kept choking in my sleep. I wasn't breathing properly. I was pushing the weight so hard because coach I had wanted me to do that. I'm not a big fan of pushing food that hard to when you're that uncomfortable, because I do think that there's some pushback, but you know, I really believed in and trusted my coach.
So he's talking about Matt Jansen. He saw right there, he's over 320 something pounds. When it comes to my protocol or my approach to it, when it comes to putting on muscle, putting on lean muscle tissue, and this is with, you know, every athlete I work with is individual. Right? There is no, this worked for so-and-so, so I'm gonna take this plan, it's gonna work for this person. It's completely different. It is 100% personalized because that person's body is going to respond completely different from a wide variety of variables. Their genetics, their body type, situations in their home, their environment, all the things, like their wallet, right? There's a lot of things that are going to affect the person's ability to put on muscle. It can't just be, I'm gonna stuff you and feed you to death and then hopefully, you know, you just put on muscle. You really just want the body to be able to slowly adapt to its environment. The body doesn't know it's dieting, doesn't know it's about to compete, doesn't know it's doing anything but adjusting to whatever you put in the mouth and whatever you do physically. That's a body's only job.
My coach is Matt Jansen, or was Matt Jansen. I fired his ass. He did a shit job during the contest prep. And I was criticized about firing him. People were like, well, why did you fire him? You should have given him another chance. Listen, motherfucker, I was worse than I was 2 years ago. You know, I took all that time, I made all these sacrifices, you know, and these sacrifices come in many shapes and forms. You know, I lost money because I'm paying for whatever it takes to be a great bodybuilder.
So if you guys are not noticing that, the guy on the left, that Quinton is the Quinton that Matt Jansen coached. The Quinton on the right is the other Quinton physique. Every time I see Quinton, I was like, just let me coach this kid. Let me coach him, please. It's like, because he's a specimen. And he's one of those kind of athletes that just do what the coaches say. There's a lot of athletes that are out there. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some athletes out there who just don't listen. And they'll place blame on the coach, like the coach did this, the coach did that, and it actually is their fault. And then most of the time, coaches take the rep for it. But for the most part, in these cases, when you come to like these professional bodybuilders, and we you know, we jived on Nick. We're like, oh, it's Nick's, you know, Nick this, and we have a guy that couldn't come out and saying this. It's not Nick, it's the coach, because these athletes are like soldiers, especially if they're like someone like me that comes from the background of playing on sports, team sports. I only know how to do my job, period, right? And that's the only way it works in a coaching client relationship. If the coach has the right knowledge and pays attention and cares for the athlete, then if the athlete does what the coach says, it's just the perfect combination and results are bound to happen. I don't want my athlete to be out there saying, Johnny, coach me, and they look like crap. So I will 100% not let you go on stage, you know, or I'm gonna make sure we make adjustments earlier to make sure that you can go on stage or you get to your transformation. That's me.
All to show up to stage and be fucking smaller. Now, when it first happened, people thought, oh, it's something wrong with him because this guy gets it right with every client. Now, let me tell you the difference between a great coach and somebody that's just a great marketer, because I don't believe that you can be a great coach Like if you have a guy like me and you fuck up that badly, like okay, guys, like this isn't like you just kind of missed. It's not like okay, shit, we came in with the added size, but we just were a little too soft in the glutes, or stomach was a bit bloated from, maybe the carb up was too aggressive. This was not that. That's the kind of error that is okay, But I lost 10 pounds of muscle. I might put up pictures throughout the video so you could see how bad the fuck up was. But I lost weight that I had no business losing. And I was leaner years before. Like 2 years ago, I was leaner, 10 pounds heavier than I was this year. And it's just the human body works in different ways for everybody. Now, for a guy like me, and I need to take accountability for some of this.
I used to be a open class bodybuilder. I walked around 265, 270, and I was coached by Matt Jansen. Now, I'm not going to say that Matt Jansen was a bad coach to me. I'm not going to say that at all. But I can tell you exactly what my issue with Matt Jansen was. And these are the things that I take on for myself as a coach. Matt Jansen from my off season, we pushed pretty heavy in terms of like, gear, I would say pretty heavy. I'm not going to lie. I was like, 1,200 something, system on, and then everything else. I am the guy that's gonna listen to everything my coach says, no matter what. What I didn't like, and the reason why that I stopped going with Matt Jansen, when it came down to the goals, I remember asking him like, what is the goal? Where are we taking my physique? And that's the question you have to ask yourself when you talk to your coaches. Is the training plan reflecting the goal we're trying to achieve? So when next time I'm on stage, I've made improvements so that, the judges can say, hey, good job. But that wasn't the answer. And that's fine. It's cool. But like, I didn't feel like I was supported enough. Here's the thing. You are paying for a service that you have every right to expect what you're paying for. And your coach says, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Then you deserve to get X, Y, and Z. You deserve to ask questions. You deserve to ponder. You deserve to, whatever it's in the parameters of what that coach says. Here's what we get. For me, you get a full-on app that I manage everything through in terms of your training plan, 100% customized. In terms of your nutrition, 100% customized. Communication, I kick myself in the ass for saying this all the time, but I'm like, I need you to communicate to me every single time. You know why? Because the more I know about you, the more I understand you. You deserve those things. You hire me, guess what? You 100% can expect those things, and if you don't get them, which I promise you they'll never happen, you have all the right to be like, I want my money's worth. And unfortunately, in this industry, if it's the other way around. For some weird reason, athletes are scared to talk to the coach. That's this industry. You have to be able to stick up for yourself and say what you want because you're paying for it.
I thought it was just a me thing, and I definitely took it a little bit personal because he gaslit me after it, and he said that my gear was fake. Yes, guys, he told me my gear was fake. It wasn't the 2 hours of fucking cardio that I was doing because you were afraid I wasn't going to show up in shape. It wasn't the 2 hours of cardio. It was my gear was fake. Now, there's zero accountability after, and people are wondering why I fired him. I'm like, well, how do you continue to work with someone when you can't agree on what the problem was?
What did I just say earlier? I need to communicate. Johnny, man, hey, man, yo, I don't want to bug you. I tell clients all the time, you're not bugging me. My training business is priority. So when it comes to me being busy, I'm busy with clients. So don't think you're bugging me. I need you to bug me. I need that feedback. I need to know what isn't working. It's a shame that this stuff happens because it happens to me as well too. People just are too scared to stand up for themselves when they're paying money. Could you imagine going to a restaurant? You're waiting for your food, and then your waitress is like, or waiter is like, over at some other table, just like, they're like, oh my God, I think this is great, man. It's awesome. You see the water getting filled up, their food's out all the time. You guys came at the exact same time too. You seen it filled up and stuff. You're having a good old time. It goes to the next person, same thing, high five, like, yeah, man, how's your food? Everything great? You guys good? And it comes to you like later and like, hey, so, you guys ready to order? Yeah, I've been sitting here for, about 30 minutes now. Like one came at the exact same time. We've been here for, my water's not here. Could you imagine that? You would probably walk out of the restaurant. But no, in this industry, we got to keep our mouth closed because I don't want to burn bridges with the coach because the coach might know somebody.
I mean, every step of the way from the point that him and I started working together, we got really close. And criticism is fair. However, you're telling me his coach didn't realize something was off? Oh, his body's not responding? You just realized his body wasn't responding, bro? Like, his body wasn't responding at 14 weeks out, 12 weeks out, 10 weeks out. When you're a client, when you're a solid client like I am, and like I know Nick is, You're just locked in doing your work. You're just doing your fucking job. If your coach is telling you look great, this is the year, you're gonna do it, you're gonna be great, whatever. Your coach is telling you this shit, you believe it. So sometimes I'm like a 310 pounder, and like I always think that I'm small. I always think that. That being said, when you have a coach and when you really trust in a coach, your coach is your set of eyes. So if something's wrong, your coach is supposed to point it out.
And that's the problem right there. There's why Nick Walker missed the Olympia this year, because his coach communication wasn't good enough, that he wasn't paying attention enough, that the athlete was doing exactly what he was told to do. And then when it got down to it, it's like, oh shoot, you don't look good. And there's not enough time to fix the issue. Every prep that I did, there was one person behind every prep that I did that I knew for a fact I could trust their word, and it was Greg. Every coach that I had, when it was mostly online, because when it was like Neil or Matt or whatever else, when they were online, or when I had to go see them and I didn't see them as often, I had a guy like Greg in my corner who was like, you're not lean enough. And I would communicate that back. I wasn't scared to communicate things back. I'm not that kind of guy to sit there and be like, I don't understand. It's like, nah, man, I'm gonna call your ass out. I don't give a shit. That's who I am. That's one thing I praise my father for. I am my father's son. I'm that kind of guy who'll call your ass out. But you have to have something like that in your corner, because guess what? If Quinn had something like that in their corner as well too, he would have to worry about, oh man, Matt Jansen not getting back to me. It's like, hey, you have someone else out there, someone maybe close enough to you, a close friend who's gonna be like, hey man, like I know you got a coach and all, but like, hey, that ain't lead enough. And unfortunately, that's just what this industry is riddled with coaches like that, who will sit there and take advantage of what's going on, will kind of like, be focused on something completely different. I mean, Matt Jansen got way too much focus on his other jobs. He's got a big business now. Matt Jansen went from just coaching people to now running Raw Nutrition, Raw Gym, blah, 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 all those things. He's probably got stuff to do. And you know what? Great for him. When it comes down to it, here we're hearing something from a guy's coming out after he had to get blasted from everyone else too. What is the issue? Communication. This video doesn't happen. Nick Walker is on stage maybe pushing top 5 if there was just communication. I got a tip for some online coaches. When I get online with people, when people hire me, when people like fill out the application, johnstreetfitness.com to fill it out, I'll reach out to them. Hey, I looked at your application, seems like a good fit. Why don't we book a 50-minute call? We'll talk about your goals. They know they're going into, getting coaching. And then when they get on the phone with me, and it's a video call, they're like, whoa, it's Johnny, it's you. I'm like, yeah, what'd you expect? Like, they're like, yeah, I really was not expecting to see you on this call. I'm like, I know you don't. I know you don't expect to see me. People don't do that because you know why? Because they're too busy to actually see you. If you have not seen your coach before, like if you haven't talked to him often enough, like this, or seen videos personalized to you, talking to your face, it happens all the time. They get their check-ins once a week and that's it. Wondering why Nick Walker didn't make it to the show. Now, again, when I got into my show, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got to my shows with Matt Jansen. I look great. The last 2 shows I did as a pro, Matt Jansen was my coach. I looked awesome. I'm not gonna take that away from him at all. It was after the fact, prep was good, this and that. I want my coach to be there. I want a coach to be there. I don't want to be on a show and be like, see all everyone else with their coaches and stuff, and it's like, oh, cool, man. What's that like? You feel like, a fatherless child when you're sitting at a show by yourself and you're seeing your peers with their coaches and you're like, oh, fuck. For the last 2 shows that I did, I prepped myself. Top 5 Mr. Olympia, I prepped myself by myself. The show that I had, just Greg, just literally just doing my body fat and making sure that, hey man, you're lean. I prepped myself. When you're looking for a coach, here's some 10 things you need to just know. Qualifications and experience. What kind of certification do they have? ISSA, NASM, they got a degree, whatever. Now look, if they have a degree, understand this. Anyone who has a PhD or a master's in whatever they're doing probably has not coached a lot of people in time if they're right after that, if they just finished. Why? Because you're spending like 8 years in university. How many people have they coached? How many transformations have they done? And how good were they? 2, customization. Gotta be personalized. If you get a plan and you're in your questionnaire like, hey man, I don't like chicken, and then you got chicken in your plan, or like a bunch of stuff you're like, I don't eat this, that's not personalized, or your training plan. If you're like, hey man, my chest is a weak point, and you get a plan back and it doesn't reflect you prioritizing your chest, it's not customized. It doesn't ask for pictures from you, or see what you look like when he makes a plan. What? How? How am I gonna make a plan for you? I'm just gonna trust your word and be like, oh, this guy says that his shoulders are a weakness. I'm just gonna make a plan based on that. It's like, no, I need to see what you look like. Communication and support. What is it like? Do you get regular check-ins? How often do you get check-ins? Do you get check-ins only once a week? That's fine. Check-ins are great. What kind of check-ins do you get? just like a feedback thing, and you send them pictures and you don't hear back from them ever, right? Do you only talk to them on the weekend? Like what kind of communication do you, can you message throughout the week? And when you do, is it like past 24 hours before you ever hear anything back? Are the instructions clear and concise? Are you like scratching like, what does he mean by this? Like, I don't know. And then you ask a question, are they bitching at you for asking questions? They make you feel like an idiot for even asking questions? You don't want that shit. Coaching style and philosophy. What's their training approach? Does it align with your training, with your philosophies, or does it resonate with you? Is that the kind of coach, or is this coach a person that can actually mold you or be molded for you? I'm coaching, you gotta fit to my shit. That's it, that kind of attitude. Like, do you know who I am? I'm the coach. It's like, no, again, you're paying for it. Are they there to help motivate you, hold you accountable? Again, Quinton, looking at this. Coaching style philosophies. You go and coach, hey man, I gotta get this coach. He's awesome. He's got all these guys and stuff. Then you're getting coached by them. It's like, yo, you gonna tell me if I'm doing good or not, or right? Nutrition guidance. What's their expertise in nutrition? They gotta know nutrition. How do you know if they know it or not? Well, you gotta ask around, man. You have to ask around. A lot of people don't ask around. They don't. They just hire a coach. I'm hiring this coach just because he has this many wins. You need to ask the people that he's coached or she's coached, and don't just ask the ones that are winning, because they're gonna tell you everything. Oh, the best coach in the entire world. They got 100 athletes. Realistic and flexible dieting. What kind of diet plan are they giving you? Are they giving you something something you can actually follow? Or they're like, hey man, here's a 180 right now. I expect you to eat chicken, broccoli, rice, or whatever it is right now. You can change it, and then when you're like, hey man, you get a question like, toughen up. Reputation reviews, again, man, ask around. What's it like? Don't just ask the ones that are doing good, ask everyone. How are you gonna know how good the coach is if you're only asking one point of view? What's their social media presence like? Right? How often the coaches showcase their expertise on the platforms? Instagram, YouTube, do you see their work? Do they sound knowledgeable? Do they sound like they actually know exactly what they're doing? Honesty and transparency. When I get an athlete, when they come in and ask me, hey, they tell me their goals, and I'm like, they're like, hey, what are my goals? Like I ask them, what's your goal? And they say, well, you know what? I want to put on 10 pounds. I was like, okay, cool. But what is your goal? 10 pounds, or, I want to put on, X amount. I'm like, okay, but have you seen what that looks like? I'm like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I say this all the time. You can come in and tell me all the goals that you want, but if you've never seen what that looks like, you've never envisioned that in your head, it's gonna be really hard for you to achieve that goal. Pricing and commitment, value for money. It's the biggest thing. Are you getting your value worth from the dollar you're spending? Ethics in practice. Avoiding the one-size-fits-all shit. Did you hear about this coach before? They just gave you the same plan? You heard like, yeah, man, I got this plan, and then I will talk to my buddy that's getting coached by the same person with the exact same plan. And every coach should be able to show and tell you this when you're talking to them in any kind of consultation that you have. You should leave the consultation knowing exactly what you're gonna get. And last but not least, experience in your specific goal. If you're just a bodybuilding coach, it doesn't mean that you're like a transformation coach, right? It doesn't mean that you can coach somebody that's an athlete. It doesn't mean that you can coach everybody just because you can do transformations. Now, for me, I have almost like 2 decades of coaching, and I've coached teens. I'm talking like 12 years old, all the way up to 75 years old. And those are athletes, those are collegiate athletes, those are high school athletes, those are professional athletes, those are the general population just trying to be healthy and fit and just be in the best shape of their life for the rest of their life. Bodybuilders. I've done it all because I have experience, because I've done this for a long time. And then they understand your unique goals. Can that coach adjust and adapt for you? That's one of the biggest things that I know that I do very well, is understanding, because I've coached so many people. I've coached a bunch of different personalities. I'm eventually gonna get an athlete who's gonna remind me of a past athlete that I had. I got a client, came to me, lost 100-ish pounds, and his training has increased so well. And now he's coaching his son. That feels amazing. And your coach, you'll see for sure, 100%, you'll see the passion through his eyes or her eyes. Unfortunately, that happened to Quinton and to Nick. Quinton, if you see me, bro, I'd love to coach you. I would love to coach you. Guys, hope you learned a lot from this video, and I hope you understand how to approach getting a coach. And if you want to see if we're a good fit, JohnnyShreveFitness.com right now. Fill that application, get on a call with me, and see if we're a good fit. And I can promise you, we're gonna reach your goals. Until next time, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.